We're about to unveil the whiteout.
But the question is, are we going to do a giveaway so we can white it off?
Oh, God. I guess that was the white thing to say.
This is the whitest computer you've ever seen.
I really didn't want to call it the honky, but I don't think people in Europe would get that, so you're probably right about that. Anyway, we decided to put together a white PC, and we couldn't get all of the white components that we needed, so we made them ourselves. And you can do it too. If you want to learn how to color different components, you can just go ahead and click on the screen right here, and it'll take you over to our video where we show you how to color your components. Now, we're not going to go too much into that. We're just going to mainly talk about what we have here, joke around a little bit, and just take a look at this white computer. So, Wendell, let's get started with the motherboard, shall we? What motherboard are we using?
Okay, so right now we're using a white Gryphon because we had it laying around. A white Sabertooth would also work, but the reason that these are ideal motherboards, the Gryphon and the Sabertooth, is because they have a plastic heat shield. Now, this is an ASUS motherboard, and the Sabertooth includes a heat shield, and it's already installed, so you'd have to remove it. Hopefully that doesn't void the warranty, but it might. We don't know.
We don't take any responsibility for anything ever. Nothing.
But the Gryphon is a separate thing. So it's made out of plastic. It's really easy. You can separate it from the motherboard, and so you can use a recoloring technique and recolor the plastic to be any color you want.
Well, the Gryphon comes in a separate kit, so you buy the Gryphon motherboard, and then you get the kit separately, whereas the Sabertooth, it's already built onto the motherboard. When you get it out of the box, it's already there. So you're going to be doing some assembling with the Gryphon, so why not put this step in the middle after you get the kit for the Gryphon, the armor kit. Go ahead and colorize it, and then put it together, then put it in your system, and it can be any color you want: purple, pink, blue, fuchsia, but probably not. I don't know.
I want to give it a try with metallic purple. I think that's the next one that I want to try.
Metallic purple
is like a nice, like a nice cherry.
Almost like a midnight purple, or you mean like a cherry purple? All right.
Like cherry purple with like metal flecks in it, if we can do that. But I don't think we're going to be able to do that because the technique that we're using is we're actually dyeing the plastic. And so it goes on very thin. It's not actually like paint, and the very small surface details are preserved.
So that's what we have for our motherboard, and it's also just a really stable motherboard, a Z87 chipset, and I mean, it's just one of the most stable Z87 motherboards out there. So it's a good component, on top of the fact that you can colorize the armor that goes on top. All right, so what CPU did you put in this?
This one I think is an i5. It's a 4670K.
Yeah. Whenever I'm doing a review or talking about a product, I do not judge it based upon its looks. But in a video like this, we can talk about what we're doing. This is like a personal fun video. So my aesthetic is usually clean and minimal and function over style, but I always like to take style into account a little bit. And that's what this one kind of is. It's heavy on the style, but it's also very functional. So when you get the two of those together, it is a piece that people come over and go, what the hell is this? And then you joke around for a little while. So you pay the extra money just to have a conversation starter. And we've got a hell of a channel to start conversations on, so that's good.
You can also tell the level of dedication that we're, it's like we're recoloring the plastic, but we also didn't, sleeve the power supply cables. So not that there's anything wrong with sleeving, it's just for this video, we didn't.
Well, this is really going to be version 1 because there are some other components that I would love to get wider versions of. For instance, let's go to the RAM right now. We're using Kingston Beast memory.
It's almost an anodized finish. It's a heat spreader.
Yeah, the heat spreader, that's what I'm looking for. Yeah, it is, and coloring that would be a totally different process. And you can't really do that with the vinyl dye.
No, we wouldn't be able to do that. But the black and white is a nice contrast, and it contrasts with our other components because the theme of this case is black and white. A little bit of black accents, mostly white.
All right, next up, the heatsink on this. We were able to get a really nice all-white heatsink.
It's the Intermax white cluster. It's the heatsink is completely white, and it comes with a completely white fan. And the fan's kind of nice. It's got 3 speed controls and good features for a medium high-end heatsink, and it's a reasonable price.
Yeah, and its price range, it does do a very good job. Blows high for its weight or something. Is that how they say it in boxing? I don't know. It's blowing.
We would be able to get even though this is Haswell, we would be able to get a pretty good overclock from this cooler. This is a pretty effective cooler
if the CPU allows it. So the graphics card. We had a lot of fun with the graphics card, or I should say you had a lot of fun with the graphics card, but I did a lot of benchmarks on this graphics card a while back, so that was fun for me. And then Wendell put it in his home system and just took it out to recolor it. So if you guys want to see the entire process of the recoloring as far as the graphics card go, click on the screen right here. It'll take you to our video where Wendell takes the GTX 770. It's the ACX model from EVGA. So he takes the ACX cooling unit off and recolors the entire thing. So if you want to see how to do that, how we did it, if you're just curious, go ahead and click on the screen and learn something. So this one looks pretty cool in the system with the black fans. You didn't color the fans.
No, I elected not to color the fans, although I probably could have. You have to be a little bit more careful when you're recoloring moving components and stuff like that. And the coating went on thin enough on the shield that I feel pretty confident that I could recolor the fans without too much issue. But I would have to completely disassemble the fans and separate the spinny part of the fan from the motor part of the fan. And then I would have to tape off sort of the inside hub of the fan, and it would be a lot of work. And we might do that depending on, how many people like this video and what sort of interest we get to show how to do that.
The case now, we've got the Fractal Define R4 in white. And it does look a little silly in there because this is a large case for a micro ATX motherboard, but Fractal does not make a white micro ATX version of the Define R4. So that's what we did. I mean, it probably would be a better idea to use the Sabertooth and color that one white and put it in here. It'd probably look a little better, but I mean, for what we're doing, this motherboard has all the features we need, and this case is going to be extremely quiet as well.
Yeah, one thing that we really like about this case is that it is super, super quiet, but it's got reasonably good airflow. And that's another reason that, we happen to have this Fractal White Newton power supply, and it's 1,000 watts. It's extreme maximum overkill.
Ridiculous overkill.
It's crazy, but when you're running it this much under load, the fan turns off, so it's completely silent.
Yeah, and a lot of people think that if you have a 1,000-watt power supply that you're going to be wasting power and that your power bill is going to go up, and that is not the case. What's going to happen is the power supply is going to run, of course, at a lower wattage, and it's also going to, the fans are just not going to need to spin. It's going to run cooler and quieter. So it's always okay to have overkill when it comes to a power supply, but it's not always okay to be running a power supply at like 95% max load or whatever. That's bad. So it's always good. This is way too much. I mean, we would have been just fine with 650 watts. So an 850 is still overkill. This is like ridiculous overkill.
I'm hoping the 770s go on sale and I can add a second one though.
And you'd be able to do that just fine.
And then it would still be overkill, which is fun.
Yeah, the two white 770s would look pretty cool in there. Now, all the cords, you said they're not sleeved, but I know a lot of you guys out there would take the time to sleeve it. I think a lot of that is just an issue of time. We need to make lots of videos and you've got a job and stuff, so sleeving takes forever. And any of you guys out there that have sleeved your components know you guys can buy some stuff pre-sleeved, but those are expensive. I mean, doing it yourself's where it's at.
If we've got anybody in the audience, we're going to hit up Galaxy about sending us a white PCB video card. So if anybody wants to sleeve our power supplies for us, volunteer on the forum.
Now the hard drive in this, we don't really have any white SSDs at the moment. Are there any white SSDs out there? I'm sure there are.
If you get in the Wayback Machine and you go way back in time, we took apart an SSD to fit it in the UX32VD, and that would work perfectly for recoloring. So you can take your SSD apart, it does void the warranty, but then you would be able to recolor the plastic components and put it in here as white as well. Unfortunately, I'm still rocking a 600 gig Velociraptor, so yeah, I don't really want to spray paint that. Yeah,
well, I mean, this is really version 1, and it's a lot of fun, but there are a few things that we need to change in this. So in version 2, let's go ahead and make our wish list and then see what we can get out of this. So in version 2, it'd be really nice to have the white PCB Galaxy GTX 780. That thing looks pretty freaking ridiculous, and it's got a white PCB. That would look beautiful in this system.
Yeah, the actual printed circuit board is white. Now their heatsink is a really fancy heatsink, and I would probably recolor it to be just completely paper white. It probably would look pretty crazy.
Yeah, everyone needs to tweet this video to @GalaxyUS. Just go crazy with it. Everyone tweet. Tell them to watch the end of it where we talk about their white PCB.
It's the Hall of Fame edition. They've got a 770, a 780, and they're working on a 780 Ti. So if you guys want to see us build more white computers or another white computer, you know, if we can get another one, we can probably put together a Sabertooth based version of this in the R4. We've also got an ITX white case from Fractal, but since there's no window, you know, you can put whatever you want on the inside. Nobody's ever going to see it.
It's one of the best ITX cases out there. It's nice and small, but you can fit so many hard drives in this using a special technique that we outlined in our overview video. So check that out and see our little hack to fit extra hard drives in there. But you can fit a lot of hard drives in that, and it's white. And yeah, like I said, no side window. So putting white components in there and recoloring components for something like that would kind of be silly, since you would only see it if you took it apart.
One other honorable mention is and you can sort of see it in the initial video setup, is Intermax also has a really nice jet black. It's called the Black Twister heatsink, and we were using the Gryphon setup and the Intermax white heatsink in a Fractal Design Core 1000. The Core 1000 is a very economical, very inexpensive micro ATX case, but it's pure black. But you know, that looks pretty good. The only problem is that this Intermax heatsink doesn't fit because of the heat pipe. So I actually cut my own window in the side panel, and the heat pipes for the top of the heatsink stick through the side panel, which is kind of fun. Does everybody like white computers? Because we don't know. Was this? I don't know.
Well, I mean, we'll probably have to do an all-black computer eventually, because in my style, I like everything to be minimalistic and just all black.
Everything is completely black, like everything. There's no lights, nothing. It absorbs light. Yeah, okay, we can do that.
Yeah, like a New York businessman. All right. We'll see you guys next time.